All right, what's going on, guys? I finally beat Resident Evil 2. Well, kind of. I only beat Leon's story. I'm going to go back and beat Claire's, but I think I'm going to tackle that a little later. I never played the original. It was one of the few games I wasn't allowed to play as a kid. I did watch a few streams when the remake first released, and I knew Mr. X was a thing. So playing this was a little intimidating, just knowing that this giant monstrosity was going to eventually show up, kind of mess with my head a little bit. So I see the story as kind of a day in the life of Leon. The beginning of the game is light on world building and more about the situation that Leon finds himself in. Things are sort of explained later, but my takeaway is that the game is more about the experience or trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. The few interactions that Leon has with Claire are a little awkward, and it seems like they're flirting in a very dangerous situation, and one of them might die at any moment. So graphically, this game looks amazing. There were a few times where I just couldn't believe what they were able to pull off. The dad that was trying to protect his daughter who had been bitten looked real at some point.
You're a cop. You're supposed to know something. How did this happen?
I'm really impressed with what Capcom's been able to do, and I see why they keep using this engine. The gameplay in this is amazing. Like, almost every aspect of this game is perfect. I know I might be reaching saying that, but I genuinely feel that this is almost a perfect game. So let's take the map, for example. The map is the most useful tool I've ever used in a video game. It tells me where I've been, what rooms I've completed that kind of no longer are needed for me to backtrack through, because this game is full of backtracking and it doesn't feel repetitive. It doesn't get annoying. So looking at the map, I can tell where I haven't been, where I haven't completed something, where there's point of interest or items might still remain. This allows me to put the game down for a couple of days, log back in, open the map up, and kind of tell exactly where I left off. The atmosphere that they created is amazing. Everything from the raindrops when you're outside to hearing, a random zombie bang up against a boarded window just feels great. The audio design in this game is just amazing. Even from when Mr. X is following you and you can hear the music, like if he's close or around, the music kind of gradually gets more intense. It just builds this perfect atmosphere of being scared for your life. Even the different enemy types make sense. Like, there's not a whole lot. I mean, you have the normal zombies, the lickers, dogs, the poisonous things down in the sewer, and the plant zombie things, and then Mr. X itself. You don't really have a whole lot, but it makes sense for this world. And each one brings a different challenge on how to defeat it. Now, speaking of Mr. X, so I knew the guy existed. I've seen streams, I've seen videos, I've seen memes about him. So there was like this big cloud, dark cloud hanging over me, knowing that eventually he was going to show up. I never knew exactly when. And of course, when you go down the hallway, you see a burning helicopter. He lifts it up, and I immediately noped. I noped the fuck out of there. And I went back to the closest save room and turned the game off. I think it was more of myself getting into my own head, like making it like a bigger deal than it actually was. When I came back in, I was easily able to dodge like his lunging attacks and stuff, but there's just something about the way they designed the sound design around his footsteps to how big he was and how intimidating the whole thing was. It was crazy. Like, one situation I found myself in was I was running from him. He was on my ass, and I ran into the hallway where there happened to be a licker. I wound up stuffing a grenade into the licker's mouth, and it caught both of them. I think it killed the licker, and it stunned him. So sometimes there is a long break where Mr. X isn't chasing you, and you kind of gain this false sense of security. And yeah, when he shows back up, you're like, oh shit. I thought I was done with this, but here I am having to run around like an idiot again. Even when you get used to the way he works, the mechanics behind Mr. X, they always put you in a different situation where you have to figure out how to get around them or how to get away from them. So even like when you're down in the basement and you turn on the electricity and all the zombies get released from their cells and you try to run around them and he's coming down the clear hallway and you have to go back. I decided to go back to the hallway full of zombies because they're less freaking dangerous. In my honest opinion, I really think that is the best part of the gameplay, is getting away from that motherfucker. So I do need to say that there were two things about this game that I didn't really enjoy, and one of them's nitpicking, and the other one's just an opinion. The inventory management in the game is pretty solid, right? Like rarely as Leon did I feel like I didn't have enough inventory space. As long as I explored, I got more item pouches and I was able to hold them. From what I've seen, that's the opposite for Claire, so we'll see how I feel about that. There was one time where I had to restart from an earlier save that was like hours ago because I didn't have enough ammo. And so I was trying to do the second boss fight with the guy you see down in the basement. You know, you're on that platform, the shipping container, and I had no ammo. Like there was no way for me to fight him. I got a little ahead of myself. I wound up leaving the building without the Magnum, and that made that fight hard. So I wound up going back, you know, a few saves, getting that item, and then making my way back to that boss fight, which made it just infinitely easier. My second problem with the gameplay was just headshots on a normal zombie. Like, why would I have to empty a whole clip into the head of a zombie and fall down and then get back up? Like, I get like they want you to be afraid, they want you to be scared, and yeah, I mean, it's my fault for having, you know, lore and canon from other zombie works, you know, influence my opinion of the game, but it felt a little much. Now when you get deeper into the game, you have the shotgun, you have the Magnum. Blowing the zombie's head open is just way too easy. But why can't I do that with the pistol? Like, why can't it take like 3 shots? They made it harder to hit this zombie in the head. It was zigzag from left to right. You know, the head was always like flopping about. Why would some of them take 80 fucking bullets to take down? Again, that's a nitpick. It definitely throws you off your normal thoughts on like what a zombie is or how to kill a zombie. So, you know, it's a minor complaint. It doesn't sour my view of the game. Again, just closing things up, I do believe this is one of the best games I've ever played. It's probably in my top 10. I'm gonna have to sit down and really think about what my top 10 games are, and I really do feel like the remake for Resident Evil 2 is up there. I do regret taking so long to play this, and I'm glad I finally got to it. I'm actually feeling like I need to go back and play Claire's half just so I get the full experience right away. Like, as much as I hated being chased, the game made me feel like I needed to come back and keep going, to keep progressing, to see what was going to happen next. What was the next situation? You know, like I said before, I can't wait to hop back in. Well, you know, I'm going to continue playing these games in my backlog. If you guys are enjoying that, or if this is the first time seeing it, like, maybe subscribe. That way you can catch the next video. Not sure what I'm going to be playing next, what game I'm going to cover next, but you can follow a link down in the description, and it will show you all the games that I have on my backlog. If you want to see something in particular, just leave a comment, and I'll see what I can do. Later. Catch you next time.